Okay, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today in Hatha from Home. Restarted for the summer months. We've got the blinds open, the sun coming in, and hopefully we've all had a nice chance to get outside, get some rays on our skin today, because it really does always uplift us. Now, today we're going to be looking into some twists to really help out that spine, release any tension, but we'll also be finding some of those nice long holds to really let the spine just do its natural magic and pull out the release of tension on its own. But of course, we're going to give it a little helping hand. So, without further ado, let's get going on our Hatha from Home. We are going to start standing today, so I'd really love it if you could all raise to your feet and bring them hip width apart. So we want that nice straight line all the way from these hip bones down to the ankles, trying to keep the legs as straight as possible here. Now, we always have a tendency, when I say always, I always have a tendency, and it's very likely that other people do. We don't always keep our pelvis nice and straight. So what we're first going to do to begin our practice is really work on finding our standing posture in our mountain pose, our Tadasana in Sanskrit. So for me, I have a pelvic tilt anterior, so my tailbone goes outwards. And what I want to do is bring my hands onto my hips and just pull that tailbone back down towards the floor. Now, you might have a posterior tilt, which means that your tailbone goes inwards, and you kind of sink forwards like this. Can you see what all these movements are doing to my spine here? So what you're going to do if you have a posterior tilt is you're going to bring your fingers onto the top of your hips and just gently guide them back. We use our hands so that we can make this movement small, make it intentional, and remember how it felt to readjust. So now we're here, our pelvis is really nice and firm, our tailbone's pointed down, our feet are hip width apart. Let's just squeeze those thighs so we can lift those kneecaps and engage the legs. Let's keep those there for the minute while we work on our top half. We're going to roll those shoulders up to the ears and roll the scapula down the spine together. Now, this might feel really unnatural if we're used to rounding like this and creating wings with our scapula. This is something I'm also quite bad for. So we just roll those shoulders up to the ears and then down the spine. Let's find a few more rolls. 3. Bring it down, squeeze there, feel what it's like to hold. Let's take another one. 2. Bring those scapula down, feel that in the lower back. We should be activating here. And 1, let's bring it up, really squeeze into the ears this time, feel a little bit of tension, and then open through the neck. We bring space to our ears and shoulders. Lovely. Let's bring those arms up overhead, trying to keep those shoulders where they are. So our hands, when they come up, are next to our ears, and we're holding a box up in the air. Our hands are shoulder width apart. And exhale, let's round those hands down by the side of us again. Keeping that exhale going until the fingertips are all the way down by the sides. And as soon as that breath is done, the hands start raising up again, extending through those fingers, strong through that core, keeping that pelvis nice and centered. Exhale, lower down. Okay, 2 more times. Well, you're welcome to close your eyes here if you want to just really focus on that sensation we're finding in the upper torso here. And remembering where all of that strength is coming from through the body. We're not just using our arms here, we're using our feet, our calves, hamstrings, pelvis, core, shoulders. Everything is coming in together to allow us to move our body in mindful ways. On this time, we're just going to lift up the left hand, rising up nice and high. And we're going to carry it over to the right side, feeling our right hand slinking down the side of our thigh as we create more depth into the stretch. Lovely. Trying to really extend the arm. We want to avoid little bent arms here because this is taking the stretch out of our psoas when really we want the depth to come from through the arm. Let's bring it back into center, lowering the elbow down to draw us back in, and then hand comes down to our side. Inhale, right hand's going to reach up as high as it can up into the ceiling and then over to the left. Good, keeping that gaze central so we're not looking up or down, we're looking straight ahead of us. Okay, let's bring the elbow down to bring us back to a center line and draw the hand down to the side. Okay, inhale, both hands lifting up here. We're going to link the fingers together, keeping them up overhead. Just the index finger is going to be pointing up into the ceiling, and that finger, we're going to follow it as it leads up. So push the finger up and the rest of the body wants to follow. We're stretching up as high as we can. We feel like our core is zipping up into our ribs. And then we're going to lean over to the left, keeping those hips over the ankles. We're just moving our upper torso, and that takes a lot of core strength. So we really want to feel like we're activating in the belly here. Let's inhale, bring ourselves back into the center, little pinch with the core, and find our way over to the right side. Lovely. Just hold that here for a breath or so. Breathing through that left side of the rib. And let's bring it back into center. We're going to release our hands and bring them down by their sides, and then they're going to lace together at the base of our spine. So bring those fingers together and pull those knuckles down towards the floor so we can lift the chest forward and bring our heart to front and center. Now we don't want to cram through the neck here. We want a nice lifted chin, maybe even looking up into the ceiling. And just really allow that to open through the shoulders and bring that chest nice and forward. Being careful not to really crunch through our spine here. We just want a soft back bend. Okay, we're going to fold forward now, so pivoting gently at those hips, bringing the knuckles up towards the ceiling as our chest moves down. And just feeling that depth in the shoulders a little bit more, but also, can we feel that sensation starting to melt into the hamstrings? Let's hold it here and just breathe really deeply for a few breaths. We're going to bend through those knees and push through all corners of those feet to lift ourselves back up. Crown of the head coming on towards the ceiling. As we're lifting up, we're releasing those hands and giving our shoulders a little bit of a shake out. Whew. Nice, well done. Well done to get into that stretch. Let's let those shoulders release out. We like our fluid movement in yoga. We're not all about just keeping perfect alignment. Sometimes it's good just to move the body where it feels nice, and for me, shaking it out always feels good. Okay, coming to the top of our mat, we're going to reach up back into the ceiling, palms together, following all the fingers into the ceiling. And then we're going to exhale down towards the ground, part the air with those hands until we're right back down into our forward fold where we just were, except our shoulders are probably enjoying themselves just a little bit more here. We're going to start moving into those twists. So as we inhale, ground into the left hand and bring the right hand up overhead, trying to follow it with our gaze. We want to look up if we can. If that's not accessible for us, we're just going to keep our gaze in line with our chest, looking to the side of the room. We're going to exhale and wind that hand all the way down to the ground, keeping it as far away from us as possible. Swap it over and inhale, lift the left up instead. And bring it down. Exhale. Let the air release as we close the chest. Inhale, right hand up. Exhale. Inhale, left. Exhale. Last one on each side. Awesome. Okay, let's just take a little bit of time in our ragdoll. So bending those knees and drawing the chest into the thighs. Let's let the crown of the head sink down towards the mat. You're welcome to put your hands wherever you want. Sometimes people hold the opposite elbow, and sometimes people just let the backs of the hands sink into the floor. Now it's up to you, because really what we're focusing on here is not where our hands are. Of course, this is important, but really what we're focusing on is that feeling that we're getting through the spine. We want to feel like we're noticing that those vertebrae slowly separate apart, giving each other some space and some wiggle room. So as you inhale, I want you to visualize the breath moving up the spine towards your tailbone. And as you exhale, imagine the air moving down and passing that releasing sensation down the spine and out of the crown of your head. You then inhale, draw that air back in through the crown of the head, up towards the tailbone. Exhale, bring it back down. Let's spend a little bit of time here with our breath. On our inhale, let's draw ourselves up to standing, keeping that chin in the chest so we can really focus on bringing that spine into a lengthened position, vertebrae by vertebrae. Consciously finding that length, finding the space, rolling those shoulders. Let's do this 2 more times. And on the last one, we bring those scapula to meet at the spine. Lovely. Okay, we're going to wiggle our feet in together so that they meet on the mat. We want the insides of our feet to be touching. And then we're going to bring our hands up over our head, keeping them shoulder width apart, bringing ourselves back to that little adjustment at the beginning of the practice. Where is my tailbone? Are my thighs engaged? Is my core engaged? Where are my scapula? And then we're going to lower ourselves down into chair. So bringing the sitting bones down behind us, keeping the knees over the ankles. We want to see those toes. And holding here, squeezing those legs together. And then we're going to dive down with those hands, bringing them towards the ground. Stepping back with the right foot, let's find our low lunge. Right knee to the ground, hands on the left knee, making sure that we've got a nice alignment here, knee over ankle, untucked back foot if we can. Okay, let's find a little bit of motion around this ankle, so bringing the knee into some circular shapes and opening through our hip. As our knee comes forward up the inside of the circle, we really want to visualize pushing those hips down, not just forwards. And then we open to the left, to the outside, and then we release that depth in the hips by bringing the knee back away from us. Let's find that a few more times. All right, let's bring ourselves back to center. Our right hand's going to come down towards the ground, and our left hand's going to lift up back into that sort of twisting shape, very small for the moment. And then if we can either leave our hands up here, reaching up into the ceiling, working on activating those shoulders, or we can bring our left hand around the base of our spine, back of the hand on the back, and push through that hand, open the shoulders a little bit more, looking over our left shoulder towards the back of the mat. Let's lift that left hand back up and bring it down towards the ground, framing that front foot. We want to tuck the toes, and we're going to step forwards back into our forwards fold. Both feet touching, we want them nice and together, so that as we lift up our hands, we can move back into chair straight away. Awesome. Send those sitting bones down as low as they can go, and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze those legs together. We're diving down with those hands, coming towards the ground. This time, left foot stepping back. All right, let's get nice and comfortable. Find as much length as you want. You don't have to go with the first position your body got into when you step back. You are more than welcome to reshuffle and readjust as much or as little as you please. But if we're nice and comfortable, we're going to start those circles. So we come down the outside of the circle. We push forwards and down as we come up the inside. Rounding that knee around the ankle. There should be a lot of sensation to feel here in the hips, so really keep your mind here. Let's find this a few more times. Okay, last one, pushing forwards, and then we're going to readjust ourselves back to center with the ankle and the knee. Left hand's going to come down and right hand reaches up into the ceiling. If we want to, bring the back of the hand onto the lower back, where our lumbar, and open that shoulder, looking towards the back of the mat over the right. Let's reopen with that right hand, finding depth, length, up into the ceiling, and then bring it down towards the ground. Now we're going to tuck that back toe, and instead of stepping forwards, we're stepping back. Let's find plank. Feel that core. This is what we want it to feel like a lot of the time. Okay, we're going to bring our knees down and find our sphinx for a little moment. So bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, plant those hands down on the mat. We're going to inhale and really feel like our chest is inflating so much that we're lifted off the ground. So we inhale, push through the elbows, the chest lifts, the belly finds a little bit more space as well. And then we exhale, looking over our right shoulder towards our right foot. Feeling that twist. Inhale, find the space. Feel the spine lengthening as the crown of your head lifts up, and then exhale, let it rest, become soft and twist. Let's find this 2 more times. Okay, last one, bringing it back to center on the right. Okay, let's bring those hands underneath our shoulders, push back into our child's pose. So keeping those hands where they are, or roughly, maybe they draw back a little bit as the sitting bones come onto the heels. Now just take a little bit of time to really feel that breath move through the spine. You want to feel it expand and drop down. Let's take a few more deep breaths here, really breathing through our shoulders. Okay, let's work our way back up to standing. To do this, we're going to transition into our downwards dog as our little mediating pose. So send those hips up and away from the floor. First one here, we have been doing a little bit of work with our hamstrings and our legs, but let's pedal it out regardless. So let's bend one knee and straighten the other. And really press that straight leg down with the heel. Okay, let's bring our left leg up into the sky, three-legged dog, pressing the right heel down away from us. And stepping through with the left leg so we can come into our high lunge. That right knee is still up off the ground, and then we lift our chest up, hands into the air. Let's find those really active, strong legs here. Hold here and press through the heel, press the hips down. Maybe even wiggling that leg back a little bit for some more space. Hold it here for a moment. Good. As you inhale now, push the hips down, reach the fingers up. Last little stretch here. And then exhale, bring the right knee down and the elbows to shoulder height. You look a bit like a cactus. Okay. Let's bring the elbows to the front of us, keeping our arms in this 90-degree shape. And then we're going to layer the right elbow on top of the left and find our eagle arms. Let's twist it through. Maybe we've got the back of the hands touching, maybe we've got the palms. And then we're going to lean forward. The elbows are drawing the chest over our front knee. And we're going to hold that here, pulling the crown of the head to the direction of those fingers. That's the front of our mat. Okay, let's push through the left leg to lift our eagle arms back up. We're going to unwind and bring them down to the inside of our left foot because we're going to put some weight on them. As we pivot, both feet to the side of our mat and bring the right toes up into the ceiling. We're in our little side stance. Now readjust as much as you want here, and you don't have to have your sitting bones all the way to the ground. Hands are on the floor for support, but if you're ever wanting to test your balance a little bit here, you can always bring your palms into touch. Elbow on the inside of the knee. Okay. Let's bring those hands back down onto the ground so they can help us pivot back into our low lunge at the front of the mat. Let's lift that back knee up into our high lunge and step forwards to the top of our mats, where we're going to walk those feet back together because yes, we're moving back into chair. Let's send those hips back. palms come together overhead, and we're going to bring the hands into the chest, right elbow over to the left knee for our twisted chair, trying to keep both of those knees in line and pressing through the palms to open the chest to the left side. We're going to release ourselves by lifting those hands up overhead and following them up there, straight into our Tadasana. Let's open the hands out to the side, palms facing the front. Walk those feet out hip width apart. And just take a little moment basking in this yoga flow, basking in all the energy you're moving around, refreshing and creating. Let's follow our hands down towards the ground. So we're going to be able to step back into our downwards dog. Placing those feet back behind us and sending the heels down. Okay, right foot lifting up behind us, three-legged dog, squeezing the glute for a little bit more height here. And then stepping through, high lunge. Using those hands to help move that leg a little bit further forward if we need that support, and then lifting those hands up, squeezing through the legs. And let's readjust. Can we go a little bit deeper? Can those hips find more space? Can our fingers reach new heights? And as that burn starts to really fold over the body, let's breathe. Bring the mind to the breath. Don't let the body take over. And on this inhale, reach those fingers up. And exhale, cactus arms as the left knee comes down. Well done. Elbows join at the front. This time left arm is going over the right. Let's wrap ourselves into eagle arms. Back of the hands meeting is fine. You don't have to get your palms to touch. It is not a necessity to actually receive the benefit from this asana, because really what we're focusing on is our shoulders here, not where our hands are. We're going to follow those fingers as they lead us down into a little forwards fold into our lunge. Putting that crown of the head forwards, trying not to drop the chin into the chest. We still want structure in this spine. Okay. Let's lift those hands back up overhead, unravel, and bring the hands down towards the ground. So we're going to move back into that side stance. So we're going to pivot both feet to face the left side of the mat and bring those left toes up towards the ceiling and settle our sitting bones down as far as they go. Bringing those hands towards the chest if we want a little bit of balance, but there is absolutely no necessity to do that. You do what you feel comfortable with. And if that means having those hands on there for support, this is a really good thing, because you are working within your boundaries, you're working with what your body can cope with. And this is what we want to learn from our yoga practice. It's not fancy balances. It's not getting deeper and deeper and deeper into asanas. Obviously there's a benefit and it happens and it's nice sometimes when it does occur. But really what we're working with, really what we're learning, is how to work with this body that we've been given. Let's pivot into our low lunge, facing the front of the mat again. And we're going to step forwards into our forwards fold. Let's keep those feet together because we're going to move into our chair once again, bringing the hands up overhead. Palms together, left elbow to right knee this time. Let's find that twist and open the chest to the right side. We're going to bring ourselves back up to standing, following those prayer hands up overhead. Exhale, bring those hands down and around. Palms facing the front for our Tadasana. Open those feet just a little bit wide. We're going to bring our hands onto our chest and our belly. And if you're comfortable with your balance, we're going to close our eyes. If not, you can just softly stare down at the ground about 6 feet away from you. And first, I just want you to acknowledge this breath. What's it doing? What's its pace? Temperature? Texture? Is it shaky? Is it smooth? Where can you feel the breath the most? Keep your mind focused on this point. And just really notice this part of your body for a moment. We're going to follow our sensation in the body. Maybe your mind is already here, maybe this is where you felt the breath the most, but we're going to bring our mind to the belly, the diaphragm. As we breathe in, we really want to feel that expand in our lower hand, and then feel it release underneath. Let's follow this sensation up into our chest, so the next time we inhale, let the mind move up into the lungs. And follow what it feels like here for a few rounds. And finally, we're going to move into our shoulders. Just keep it present here. What does it feel like to expand? What does it feel like when they fall down? Okay, let's bring our hands down by our sides, keeping those eyes closed if you can or if you want to. And we're just going to really know where our feet are. Sounds a bit silly, but where are you holding your weight in your feet the most? Where does that part take the most weight, the most pressure? And I want you to just kind of start making some really, really subtle circles with your whole body over your feet. Noticing what parts in the legs are starting to activate or compensate for this change in position. What part of the circle do you find easiest to roll around? And what part feels the most uncomfortable? The bit where our unsteadiness starts coming in. Just rolling around, maybe just jotting from side to side now. Feeling that pressure move from the knife's edge all the way through into the arch of each foot. And then we're going to find a little rocking and forward motion, so from toe to heel. Now these motions are so small, if I was there with you now, I'd probably not really be able to notice what you're doing. And in a moment, I want you to just try and find the most central part of your foot where your weight could go. Just readjust until you found that sweet spot. So every single part of your body, every single part of your foot feels nice and evenly distributed with weight. Let's move down into our ragdoll, bringing the chin through into the chest and following the crown of the head down towards the ground. Let's take a little moment here in this nice restful position. Where's the weight in those feet gone now? Let's bring our hands towards the ground and heel toe our way out a little bit wider than hip width apart, so maybe to the edges of our mat. And we're going to bring ourselves down into our yogi squat, using those hands for support on the ground until we've found the depth that feels most comfortable and the crown of the head now lifted up again. Let's let that blood readjust and gently rock from one foot to the other. We're going to bring those hands down onto the ground so that we can lower the sitting bones down with a little bit of guidance. And then we're going to shuffle our way down so we can come straight into our reclined position, trying to bring that whole spine onto the mat. And sometimes to do this, we need to push through the feet so that the small of the back, around the lower of our thoracic, the top of our lumbar comes down. We're going to cross the right leg over the left and then bring the knees towards the chest. Now you can either hug over the knees and bring them in, or if you feel like you have a little bit more space and a little bit more reach with your arms, we're going to hold the outsides of those feet and pull the feet in instead. Still actively using the muscles in your leg to pull the knees in as well though. Let's take 3 breaths here. We're going to unravel and swap over. So let's bring the left knee on top instead this time. And bringing ourselves back into that hugging position. Now you might have more depth on one side, that's okay. Let's just find that position where we feel tension, a little bit of discomfort, but no pain. Last breath here. And unravel. Okay, let's sway our knees from one side to the other for a little bit. Just massaging out that glute after we found quite a depth of stretch in there. Last little moments with our twists. And then we're going to bring the knees into the chest, not crossed or anything, just nice and lateral. And we can have a little rocking motion if we want, rolling over the spine, letting all the muscles get a little bit of massage. And if you feel like your lower back is a little bit tight, this is where we bring our hands just onto our knees and create some circles over the sacrum. Okay, and let's move into our Shavasana. So we're going to extend those legs either down to the bottom of the mat or find our reclined butterfly, or however you like to have Shavasana. And just take some moments in our stillness and in our silence. Letting everything, all tension melt away from the mind, the breath, the body. Just actively allow everything to settle down and start taking that step into the state of the observer, watching it all occur, not interacting with it, not forcing it to do anything differently, just allowing it to be, just allowing yourself to be. Alright, let's start bringing ourselves out. So we're going to reach those hands up overhead and really stretch the fingers away. If we're in reclined butterfly, we'll bring the knees in together. And wherever we were, we're going to bring them into the chest, hands coming onto the knees. And come back to that little rocking motion. Let's carry this motion on through onto our right side. So letting the knees just guide us over so we can just allow our body to readjust. And just take a little bit of time in the safety of this position. And then let's lift through our hands so we can bring ourselves back into our seated position. Now you can cross your legs, or maybe you want to find a different type of meditative seat, which is where we layer one heel on top of the other. And let's inhale and reach our hands up over our head until our palms come into touch. Let's just gently look up at them. And then exhale, lower the thumbs into the chest, watching them come down. Bringing the chin into the chest as well for a moment. Let's follow through into a nice bow to show gratitude to our body for coming to the practice, for our mind for its focus, and our breath for connecting the two. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you had a nice time and that we'll be able to see you again in another clip. All right, bye.